Happy Monday, everybody. It's just me today. Scarlett, my helper, she's at preschool. So today I thought I would kind of get a start on my meal prep. A lot of times I'll leave Sunday to where I prep all my meals for the week, and I also make a big pot of vegetable soup. I'll get into where the vegetable soup came from, but I also do some meal prep on Tuesdays as well. But today is Monday, and I didn't meal prep yesterday. So today we're going to be making my vegetable soup. For the past year and a half, I've been eating this vegetable soup every week. It's really helped with my joints because it's just loaded with a ton of vegetables. A year and a half ago, my oldest sister, with her vast knowledge and amazing wisdom, exposed me to eat right for your blood type. And I've always been in our family, we've eaten healthy. We've always tried to eat whole foods. And I was starting to have, for 2 years, I was suffering from shoulder problems. I mean, with what I do as my career and the nursing, having babies, holding babies, heavy babies, I was having issues with my shoulder and nothing was helping. So my oldest sister asked me if I ever heard of Eat Right for Your Blood Type. Going through chiropractic school, I had heard of it before, but I didn't really ever get into detail with it. So I got the book, I read it, and then she gave me this week-long program that her chiropractor had given her, and it involved this big vegetable soup that you eat. You can eat as much as you want every day for a week. And so I did that. I've experimented how I made the vegetable soup, but I will tell you, after I did this for a week and a half, my shoulder pain was gone. So it's a very much an anti-inflammatory type soup. And I've experienced different spices that I put into it. What my go-to now is turmeric, but curry is really good in it as well, and I usually do a splash of cayenne pepper in there too. So without further ado, let's get started, because it's a lot of chopping vegetables, and I do have a lot of people that ask, how do I chop certain vegetables? So I thought I would not do too much prep work before the cooking show, and I would just walk you through kind of how I chop things. For this vegetable soup, I do try and keep it more chunky, because I find that it tastes better. Whenever I first experimented with this, I would puree it, and it just wasn't that good. And then I kind of shredded it. It wasn't that good. So this is what I like. My texture, or my taste buds like this texture better. So feel free to experiment with however way you like your vegetables. So I'm going to mainly be just dicing them, keeping them somewhat chunky, and I will go through the recipes as I'm cutting, or I'll go through the recipe as I'm cutting. And I am missing 1 or 2 ingredients, but that's okay, I'll throw it in later. So you want to have a bundle or bunch, however you call it, of celery. So that's what I'm cutting right now. And always wash your fruits and vegetables. So all these have been washed, and I have peeled the carrots that I need. So it takes 6 carrots. And it also includes broccoli, zucchini, 2 red peppers, kale or Swiss chard, green onions, which I don't have my green onions out here. Oh, so the Eat Right for Your Blood Type. So I'm type O, which I think is one of the more common ones. So this, how it was structured was it went through and it gives you I also have the app that goes on my iPhone, and it shows what foods are beneficial for me, what I should avoid, and what ones are kind of neutral. So all the ones in this soup are either beneficial or neutral, but I'm pretty sure all of them are beneficial. I mean, it was incredible. Whenever I first tried this, in my shoulder pain and anything else I hadn't really noticed, it just started going away. And I mean, I get adjusted on a regular basis. I eat healthy. I take my supplements, but nothing was really budging with my shoulder and until I tried this. And I do remember I did this I did the program, the Week Love program, for 2 weeks. And not that I was necessarily doing it for weight loss, but I did lose, I think total to this day is probably 10 pounds, and I've been able to keep it off. I mean, I've tried other things too to kind of keep my body moving and just different ways to keep the weight off as well. But whenever I went off of it, there was a weekend that I went with my sisters and mom. It was not this past Mother's Day, but the Mother's Day before that. And I just went off of it for a couple of days, and immediately I noticed it in my joints. Like my joints were stiff and they were starting to bother me. So for me, that was good enough. And I just went back to it, and that's kind of what I've been doing for the past year and a half. Carrots are much harder to cut. 6 carrots is a lot to cut, but I mean, you want this type of, medium-sized carrot. You can add as much as you want or as little as you want. But since it's October, we're starting to get into more soup season, so I thought vegetable soup would be the way to go. And this is so versatile. You can add whatever types of greens. Like I said, I'm adding kale, but you can also add like Swiss chard, spinach. It also calls for leeks, but I don't really have any leeks, and it's I don't cook a lot with leeks, so I just usually do green onions. Okay, so what did I say? 6 carrots, a bundle or a bunch of celery, 2 red peppers, a zucchini, kale. Like my zucchini was pretty big. I cut it in half, but. And then I use beef bone broth. But you could also use vegetable broth or just water too. If you're using just water instead of any broth, I would recommend throwing extra seasoning just to give it a better or more flavorful taste. Okay. Last time I made this, I had it simmer for too long. I kind of walked away and totally forgot about it. So the vegetables were a little extra soggy. I like a little bit of a crisp whenever I'm biting into it, but and like I said, I really have been eating this. I mean, there might be a week or two throughout the past year and a half that I didn't, but it's been working and it helps. And I do notice if I add certain foods some foods that might be more on my neutral list that I'm more sensitive to, or definitely on the avoid list, I notice it. Like my body tells me immediately, what did you just do to me? Let's go back to the soup. I don't have leeks, but I do have green onions, so we will add those. I mean, you want a fairly big size soup pot. Okay, and I'm going to add about 3 cups of chopped kale into it. Don't be too stingy with the kale because it will shrink and get smaller. And then I do have my red pepper to cut and then my green onions, which... So for the seasoning, I currently don't have any turmeric, but I will be getting it. And then I put a lot of turmeric in, and turmeric is great anti-inflammatory. I know a lot of people are very familiar with it. So it helps with joint pain and just helps with inflammation overall. But I usually put 2 to 3 tablespoons of it. It doesn't have a potent flavor. And then, like I said, I do put broccoli in the soup too, about 1 cup of broccoli. And both my girls, they're not really soup fans, but they do request to have. If they see me eating it, they will eat this kind of soup. Okay. So then I also put a jar of diced tomatoes. Just about, well, this is 18 ounces, but you can put more in. It could be anywhere between 18 to 30 ounces, I find. And then about 3 cups of broth, and then I'll fill the rest up until it's just slightly under the top of the layer of the vegetables. I'll put water in with that. Okay. And I will cut up my green onions real quick. Usually it takes about 6 green onions, or 3 leeks, like the bulbs of the leeks. Oops. But this whole pot of soup, so I'll have some every day, multiple times a day. Usually, I would say I probably have, a bowl of soup 2 to 3 times a day. On average. Some days I don't have it at all. Just kind of depends if I'm eating a lot more. If I'm eating a lot of roasted vegetables or a big salad, I generally don't have the soup that day, but okay. So that is nice and full, and currently waiting on my water too. So like I said, I don't really have any turmeric right now, but I will add that later. But I'll put everything else in, and then whatever my broccoli and my turmeric I will add in a little bit. But I just depends on how spicy you like it. I do like it to be a little bit spicier. But that was cayenne pepper, probably half a teaspoon, and then I'll just put salt and I've already put garlic in there. And like I said, you could put curry, you could put cumin, but that's it. So I'll just let this, I'll add my other 2 ingredients here in a few minutes, and then I'll just put this to simmer for usually probably 45 minutes. I'll have it simmering. Just check it. You don't want the carrots to be hard, you want them to be fairly soft. So it usually takes about 45 minutes on simmer or low, and just eat it on, I would say eat it on a nice cool day, but I've had it all summer too. So it's great. It's a really good like fat burning soup because it's full of lots of vegetables. It's got its greens, it's got some anti-inflammatories in there. I strongly recommend giving it a try. Experiment with the spices. Like I said, however texture you like it. Mine tends to be chunkier, but make it your own. I'd love to hear if you've changed it or what you added or what type of spices you use. I'm always interested and happy to hear that people are making these and making it their own. So I hope everyone has a wonderful week, and we will see you guys back here next Monday.